Listen to me. Every second you spend waiting is a second stolen from your destiny. You keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. But guess what? Tomorrow never comes. You said that last week. You said that last month. You said that last year. And now you're standing in the same place, same goals, same excuses, same pain. You know what's crazy? You keep praying for opportunities, but you never prepare for them. You keep asking for success, but you won't even show up for your own dreams. You're sleeping on your purpose like it's going to wake you up itself. It's time to get real. Some of you are losing your future not because you're not talented, but because you're too comfortable. You've made peace with being average. You've convinced yourself that later is a strategy. It's not. Later is a lie. You've got everything you need, the vision, the drive, the idea, but you're letting fear, laziness, and distraction steal your time. And let me tell you, time is the one thing you don't get back. Every minute you waste is a minute your competition uses to get ahead. While you're scrolling, they're studying. While you're sleeping, they're grinding. While you're procrastinating, they're winning. You say, E.T., I'm just waiting for the right moment. Let me tell you something. There is no right moment. There's only this moment, right now. The clock is ticking. The world is moving, and your dream is sitting there untouched. Stop making excuses and make progress. Stop wishing and start working. Stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. I remember sleeping on the floor of an abandoned building and still waking up at 3 a.m. to grind, because even then I knew if I didn't move, I'd lose. You've got to fight your laziness like your life depends on it, because it does. You've got to attack procrastination like a soldier at war, because it's trying to kill your greatness. You've got potential, but potential means nothing if it's never used. You've got dreams, but dreams mean nothing if you never chase them. Stop saying one day, make it day one. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of discipline. Your success is waiting on the other side of action. So today, right now, I dare you, get up. Write that plan, send that email, start that workout, study that book, do something your future self will thank you for. You can't win if you don't start. You can't grow if you don't move. You can't shine if you keep sleeping. Listen, this is your moment. You've been given another 24 hours. Don't waste it. Stop procrastinating. Start dominating, because your destiny is calling and it won't wait forever. You keep saying you're waiting for the perfect time. You tell yourself that you'll start once things calm down, once you have more money, once you have more confidence, once the stars line up just right. But let me ask you something. How long have you been waiting? How long have you been feeding yourself that same story? When I get this done, I'll start. When I finish that, I'll commit. And every single time you wake up to another day, another month, another year going by, and nothing has changed. Listen to me. There is no perfect time. There's only now. You keep waiting for the conditions to be ideal, but the truth is the conditions are never going to be ideal. Life will always be messy. There will always be something missing, something uncertain, something uncomfortable. But the people who make it, the people who rise, the people who win, they don't wait for the weather to clear. They move through the storm. The reason so many people never reach their potential isn't because they don't have the talent, the intelligence, or the ability. It's because they keep postponing action until the world becomes convenient for them. But life doesn't become convenient. Life becomes conquered. You can't control the timing, but you can control your movement. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control your response. Can't wait for opportunity to knock. You've got to go out there and build the door. Waiting for the perfect moment is like standing in front of a locked gate, hoping it opens by itself. It won't. You have to pick up the key called action and open it yourself. Let me break it down for you. There's never going to be a day where you feel completely ready. You'll never have all the answers. You'll never have everything figured out. But the people who win in life are not the ones who know it all. They're the ones who start anyway. They take that first step into uncertainty. They make mistakes. They fail, but they learn, they adjust, and they grow. They understand that progress doesn't require perfection. It requires movement. You can plan, you can dream, you can visualize all you want, but none of that matters if you don't act. Plans are powerless without execution. Dreams are meaningless without effort. Visualization is empty without realization. You've been waiting for a sign, haven't you? You've been praying, asking, hoping for something or someone to tell you it's time. Well, let me be that voice for you right now. It's time. This is the sign. This is the moment. Because the truth is, every second you wait, the world moves forward without you. Every minute you hesitate, your potential slips further away. There's someone out there right now working on the same dream you keep talking about. The difference is they're doing it. While you're waiting for courage, they're building confidence. While you're waiting for the right setup, they're using what they've got. While you're waiting for everything to align, they're learning how to walk in misalignment. And by the time you finally decide to start, they'll already be miles ahead. You say you're waiting for the right time, but what if the right time is right now? What if this moment, the one you're living in with all its chaos and imperfections, is exactly where your breakthrough begins? You keep thinking success is somewhere in the future, but it's not. Success starts here with a decision, not a feeling, not a wish, a decision. The decision to start now, even if it's not perfect. The decision to act now, even if you're afraid. The decision to move now, even if you're unsure. Because movement creates clarity. You don't get clarity by standing still. You get clarity by walking through the fog. Think about the people who changed the world. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. Thomas Edison didn't wait until he had all the answers before he created the light bulb. He failed over 1,000 times. Do you think he said, I'll wait for a better time to try? No. He failed and failed and failed until he succeeded. Steve Jobs didn't wait for the market to be ready for Apple. He created the market. Oprah didn't wait until she had the perfect circumstances. She created opportunities in a world that told her she didn't belong. Every great person you admire had every reason to wait, every excuse to delay, but they didn't. Because they understood something powerful. There is no perfect time to start, only a perfect reason, and that reason is you. You're waiting for conditions to get better. But what if those conditions are waiting for you to get better? You think life owes you perfect timing, but life rewards courage, not convenience. Life opens doors to those who are willing to knock, not those who sit outside hoping someone else opens it for them. You've been given breath, energy, and potential. Don't waste them waiting for permission. You don't need permission to chase your dream. You don't need validation to take the first step. You don't need everything to make sense to start moving, because once you move, things begin to make sense. The path becomes clearer only after you begin to walk it. Let's get real. The reason you haven't started isn't because you're waiting for the perfect time. It's because you're afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to be uncomfortable. But you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. Fear doesn't go away by waiting. It goes away by acting. Every time you take a step towards your goal, fear loses its grip. Every time you take action, your confidence grows stronger. You don't need less fear. You need more faith. Faith that you'll figure it out as you go. Faith that even if it's messy, it's movement. Faith that every small action is leading you closer to something greater. You have to understand perfection is an illusion. You're chasing something that doesn't exist. The world isn't waiting for your perfect version. It's waiting for your authentic version. The version that's willing to try, to stumble, to get up, and to keep going. You'll never be fully ready, but you'll always be capable. You just have to decide to use what you have. Start with your small resources, your limited time, your imperfect skills, because that's where greatness begins. Every expert was once a beginner. Every champion started with doubt. Every success story started with a step. Let me paint it for you. Imagine two people standing side by side. One says, I'll start when I'm ready. The other says, I'll start now and get ready as I go. A year later, the first person is still planning, still researching, still waiting. The second person has learned, failed, improved, grown, and maybe even succeeded. The difference isn't in ability. It's in action. You've got to make a choice right now. Do you want to be the one who talks or the one who acts? Every day you delay, the mountain gets taller. Every day you postpone, the gap between you and your dream widens. But here's the beauty. The moment you start, momentum begins to build. The universe doesn't move for the thinkers, it moves for the doers. Action attracts opportunities. Movement creates momentum. You want a better future? Move toward it. You want a breakthrough? Stop talking about it and work on it. You want success? Earn it with consistency. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. The only question is, will you use your time to build something or to wait for something? Don't let procrastination disguise itself as patience. Patience means trusting the process while you work. Procrastination means doing nothing while you hope. You don't have time to waste on hesitation. You're not guaranteed another year, another month, another week. What if this is your last chance to make it happen? What if this is the moment that defines the rest of your life? You've got to stop treating time like it's unlimited. Every day that passes is one less day to fulfill your purpose. So stop saying someday. Make today the day. Make now the time. I need you to hear me. Nothing changes until you do. You can't wait for the right environment, the right people, or the right resources. You have to be the right person with the right mindset right now. You've been given everything you need to start. Maybe not everything to finish, but definitely enough to begin. So take that step, take that risk, move in the direction of your dreams with faith that the rest will meet you along the way. The perfect time is a myth and the clock is running. Every day you delay, you trade your potential for regret. Every excuse you make builds another wall between you and your purpose. It's time to break those walls. It's time to stop waiting for the stars to align and start walking under the ones already shining above you. Because life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who work. The door is right there. The handle is in your hand. You don't need to wait for permission, for timing, or for perfection. You just need to turn the knob right now, because there is no perfect time. There's only this time, and it's all you'll ever have. Procrastination is not just a bad habit. It's a silent killer. It's the slow poison that eats away at your dreams, your confidence, and your potential. You keep thinking you're safe because you're not doing something terrible. You're just putting it off. But what you don't realize is that every time you delay, every time you say, I'll do it later, you're losing a piece of yourself. You're handing over your time, your energy, your future to the enemy of progress, procrastination. You might think it's harmless, that it's just a small delay, but it's not. It's a thief, and it's stealing your life 1 second at a time. You have no idea how dangerous procrastination is. It's sneaky. It doesn't show up loud and aggressive like fear or failure. It whispers. It convinces you that you have more time, that it's okay to rest, that you deserve a break before you even start. It tells you that tomorrow will be better, that you'll be more focused, more ready, more inspired. But when tomorrow comes, that same voice tells you the same lie again. It keeps you trapped in a loop of waiting. And while you wait, opportunities disappear. While you hesitate, the world moves forward without you. While you procrastinate, your dreams fade into dust. The scariest thing about procrastination is that it feels comfortable. It feels safe. You convince yourself that by waiting, you're being wise, that you're preparing, that you're thinking things through. But what you're really doing is hiding from responsibility, hiding from effort, hiding from failure. You can dress procrastination up in fancy words like planning, strategizing, or waiting for the right moment. But the truth doesn't change. You're avoiding the work. You're avoiding the pain of discipline. You're avoiding the stretch that growth requires. And every time you choose avoidance, you weaken your own willpower. Procrastination kills purpose. You can have all the dreams, all the vision, all the ambition in the world, but if you keep postponing your action, none of it means anything. Purpose without action is just potential energy. It doesn't move you. It doesn't feed you. It doesn't change anything. You can't build a legacy on ideas alone. You can't achieve greatness by thinking about it. You've got to take the step, make the call, write the page, do the work, because procrastination doesn't just delay your results. It delays your becoming. Every day you put off the work, you're putting off the person you could have been. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow? How many goals have you buried under excuses like, I'm too tired, I'm not ready, or I'll do it when I feel motivated? How many dreams have died quietly because you kept waiting for a better mood, a better situation, a better chance? Every time you let procrastination win, you teach yourself to settle. You train your mind to accept less. You start believing that average is okay, that someday is enough, that later will fix it, but later never fixes anything. Later is a lie. Later is the place where your dreams go to die. Procrastination weakens you. It takes your energy, your focus, your power. You start to lose trust in yourself because deep down, you know you're capable of more, but you're not doing it. You know you should be writing that book, studying that course, training for that opportunity, applying for that job, fixing that habit, but you don't. And when you don't, a piece of your confidence breaks. You start telling yourself stories to justify your delay. You say you're tired. You say you're busy. You say you'll do better next week. But you know the truth. You're choosing easy over effort, comfort over commitment, and that choice comes with a cost. Because every time you postpone, you're practicing quitting. You think procrastination is just stealing your time. It's not. It's stealing your identity. It's turning you into someone you never wanted to be. You start becoming someone who talks big but acts small, someone who dreams big but sleeps longer, someone who plans everything but executes nothing. That's what procrastination does. It separates who you are from who you were meant to be. It replaces action with intention and convinces you that intention is enough. But listen to me. Intention without execution is self-deception. You can't build your future on thoughts alone. You've got to move. You've got to do something about it. You've got to understand that procrastination grows stronger every time you feed it. The more you delay, the easier it becomes to delay again. It becomes a habit, and that habit becomes your identity. You start believing you're just a lazy person. You start accepting mediocrity as your lifestyle. You stop expecting more from yourself. And once you lower your expectations, you stop rising. That's how procrastination wins. Not in one big moment, but in 1,000 small decisions where you choose comfort over commitment. Some of you think you can beat procrastination by waiting for motivation. But motivation doesn't come first. Action does. You can't sit around waiting to feel like it. That's not how winners operate. Winners do it even when they don't feel like it. They show up tired. They show up scared. They show up uncertain because they know that the only way to create momentum is to move. You can't think your way into progress. You've got to act your way into it. The moment you take one small step, your brain starts to shift. Energy follows effort. Action breeds motivation. And the more you move, the less room procrastination has to live. You say, I'll do it later, but later turns into never. You've got to realize that the perfect moment you're waiting for doesn't exist. You keep waiting for the day you'll wake up with clarity and courage, but that day only comes after you start. You think you're waiting for the world to align, but really the world is waiting for you to decide. You're the delay. You're the roadblock. You're the one stopping your own success. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start because procrastination builds inertia, the weight of inaction that keeps you stuck. The only way to break that weight is to move, no matter how small that first step is. You might not realize it now, but procrastination creates regret. One day you'll look back and realize how many chances you missed because you were waiting for the right time. You'll realize that your window of opportunity closed, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't committed. You'll remember the ideas you never executed, the goals you never chased, the potential you never fulfilled, and that realization will hurt. Regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from not trying. Because failure teaches you, but procrastination robs you. It robs you of lessons, of growth, of progress, of pride. Procrastination also feeds guilt. Every time you delay something you know you should be doing, you feel that little sting inside, the guilt of avoidance. That guilt builds up. It drains your mental energy. It makes you anxious. It makes you restless. You try to escape it with distractions, scrolling, watching, chatting, but it always returns. And the only way to silence that guilt is to act. The moment you start working, the weight lifts. The moment you take responsibility, the peace returns. You've got to stop letting procrastination steal your peace. You've got to take control of your focus and your time. Let me tell you something powerful. Discipline is freedom. You think procrastination gives you freedom because it lets you avoid effort. But in reality, procrastination enslaves you to your own weakness. Discipline, on the other hand, may feel painful at first, but it leads to true freedom. When you discipline yourself to act, you free yourself from anxiety, from regret, from chaos. You start trusting yourself again. You start walking with confidence. You start building momentum. Every time you win against procrastination, your mind becomes stronger. Your spirit becomes sharper. Your purpose becomes clearer. Motivation is powerful, but it's not permanent. It's that spark that ignites you for a moment. But if you rely on it alone, you'll burn out before you even reach halfway. You can't live your life depending on motivation to get things done, because motivation is emotional. It's unstable. Some days you wake up feeling fired up, ready to conquer the world. Other days you wake up tired, drained, and uninterested. If you build your success on motivation, you'll only move when you feel good. But success doesn't care about how you feel. Progress doesn't wait for your mood to improve. The world doesn't pause until you feel like moving. That's why discipline will always be greater than motivation. Discipline is not about feeling inspired. It's about being committed. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to. It's showing up when no one's clapping for you, when the excitement is gone, when the results aren't visible yet. Discipline is that quiet strength that pushes you to keep going long after the initial fire of motivation has faded. Motivation is about emotion. Discipline is about principle. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you consistent. One is a burst of energy. The other is a lifetime of effort. The truth is, anyone can work hard when they feel motivated, but only the disciplined keep working when they feel empty. You can't wait to feel good before you act. If you do that, you'll never build momentum. The reason so many people start strong and finish weak is because they depend on motivation. They get excited at the beginning, a new job, a new goal, a new plan. They talk big, post big, dream big. But when that excitement wears off, they disappear. Why? Because they were never disciplined. Motivation is what brings you to the gym. Discipline is what makes you stay when the soreness kicks in. Motivation is what helps you open the book. Discipline is what makes you finish it. Motivation is what gets you started on your dream. Discipline is what makes that dream real. You've got to train yourself to move regardless of emotion. Discipline doesn't ask, do I feel like it today? Discipline says, it doesn't matter how I feel, I've got work to do. You have to understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. You won't always feel inspired to wake up early, to study, to practice, to grind. But if you push through those moments, that's where greatness is born. Every time you act without feeling like it, you strengthen your mental muscle. You're teaching your brain that obedience to purpose is more important than obedience to emotion. You start to realize that success is not built on feelings. It's built on habits. Discipline doesn't look glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't get applause. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's showing up again and again, even when nothing seems to be changing. It's doing the same small things daily, reading that chapter, writing that paragraph, training those extra minutes, saving that extra amount. And because it's repetitive, most people quit before they ever see results. But the discipline understands something different. They know that consistency compounds. They know that small, ordinary actions done consistently over time create extraordinary results. The discipline don't chase intensity. They chase consistency. You see, motivation fades because it's driven by excitement, and excitement always fades once the novelty wears off. But discipline is driven by purpose. Purpose doesn't fade. Purpose endures storms, emotions, failures, and fatigue. Motivation says, I feel like doing it. Discipline says, I'll do it no matter what. Motivation is external. It depends on speeches, songs, and circumstances. Discipline is internal. It's built from within. When you're disciplined, you don't need someone to push you. You push yourself. You don't need a crowd. You're enough of a reason. You don't wait for energy. You create it through effort. There's a reason why most people never reach their full potential. It's not because they lack motivation. It's because they lack discipline. They wait to feel inspired before they move. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect environment, the perfect time. But the truth is, the perfect time never comes, and the perfect mood doesn't last. Winners move regardless. They move when they're tired. They move when they're hurt. They move when they're doubted, because they understand that discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. You can have the best plan in the world, but without discipline, it's just a plan. You can have a dream that burns inside you, but without discipline, it will never become reality. When you're disciplined, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making deals with your emotions. You stop saying just 5 more minutes or I'll do it later. You silence that inner voice that's always trying to protect you from discomfort because you understand that comfort is the enemy of growth. Discipline teaches you to do it anyway, to show up when it's hard, to keep going when you want to quit, to sacrifice now for what you want later. The disciplined mind doesn't chase what's easy. It pursues what's necessary. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. It sounds like a paradox, but it's true. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. When you're disciplined with your time, you're free from chaos. When you're disciplined with your health, you're free from weakness. When you're disciplined with your money, you're free from debt. Discipline creates control, and control creates freedom. Motivation gives you bursts of energy, but discipline gives you power. Discipline gives you mastery over yourself, your thoughts, your habits, your emotions. And once you control yourself, nothing outside you can control you. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up, and those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate the average from the extraordinary. Anybody can work when it's easy. Anybody can grind when the weather is perfect. But what about when it's raining? What about when you're tired, broke, lonely, and discouraged? That's where the discipline rise. That's where they earn their strength. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You're not always going to get it right, but the key is to never stop showing up. You have to stop chasing the emotional high of motivation and start chasing the long-term growth of discipline. Motivation makes you talk about change. Discipline makes you live it. Motivation fills your mind. Discipline fills your calendar. Motivation gets you hype. Discipline gets you results. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're building character. You're building resilience. You're building a version of yourself that can't be broken easily. Discipline gives you the power to keep going long after others have stopped. The truth is, motivation will lie to you. It will tell you you can rest today. It will whisper you've done enough. It will convince you that you can skip this one time because you'll make it up later. But discipline tells you the truth. Discipline reminds you that one missed day becomes 2, and 2 become a week. It reminds you that consistency builds identity, that every small act of discipline is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. The discipline don't rely on how they feel in the moment. They act according to who they've committed to be. You have to understand that discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's preparing you for the moments when life tests you, when opportunity knocks, when challenges appear. Motivation can get you started on a good day, but discipline is what carries you through the bad ones. Discipline builds endurance. It teaches you to keep pushing even when there's no applause, no reward, no recognition. It makes you unstoppable because it makes you consistent. And consistency is what turns ordinary people into legends. You can't build a strong life on temporary feelings. Feelings come and go, but discipline stays. Feelings are fleeting, but discipline is firm. Feelings say, not today. Discipline says, every day. Feelings say, I can't. Discipline says, I must. Discipline doesn't ask for comfort. It demands commitment. It's the internal fire that keeps burning even when the world turns cold. That's why discipline will always outlast motivation, because discipline doesn't depend on emotion. It depends on decision. The world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most consistent. You can be the most gifted person in the room, but if you can't show up every day, that gift is useless. The discipline, even with less talent, will outperform the gifted who lack focus, because discipline multiplies effort. It turns small daily actions into lifelong success. Every great athlete, every master artist, every entrepreneur who made it, they didn't rely on motivation. They relied on discipline. They had days where they hated the process, but they did it anyway. That's what champions do. They act independent of their emotions. Discipline will feel painful at first. It will make you uncomfortable. It will push you to your limits. But once you learn to love that pain, you'll become unstoppable, because you'll realize that pain is not punishment. It's progress. Every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice, it's all shaping you. Discipline is the forge where strength is built. And once you've built that strength, you'll never be the same. You'll walk differently. You'll think differently. You'll operate differently. You'll no longer need external motivation, because you'll have internal fire. There's a part of you that knows what needs to be done. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another speech. You already know. What you need is the discipline to follow through. You need to stop waiting to feel like it and start training yourself to act regardless. You need to stop chasing hype and start building habits. You need to stop relying on moods and start relying on systems. Because when motivation fades, and it will, discipline will be there to carry you. Motivation starts the race. Discipline finishes it. Motivation sparks the dream. Discipline builds the reality. Motivation gives you energy. Discipline gives you endurance. Motivation may light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning until the job is done. See, the biggest trap most people fall into isn't failure. It's comfort. Comfort is sneaky. It doesn't announce itself like pain or struggle. It whispers to you softly, makes you believe you're doing okay when you're actually stuck. Comfort is that voice in your head that says, you've done enough today, when deep down you know you haven't even scratched the surface of what you're capable of. It's that feeling of safety that slowly poisons your drive, dulls your hunger, and kills your ambition one lazy decision at a time. Comfort is the enemy that wears a friendly face. And most of you have been shaking hands with it for too long. You can't grow in a place where you refuse to be stretched. You can't become strong if everything around you is easy. Look at nature. Trees that grow on mountainsides face the harshest winds, yet they develop the deepest roots. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire, and champions are built in the struggle. Comfort doesn't create greatness. It creates mediocrity. The problem is that mediocrity doesn't hurt immediately. It feels fine at first. You relax, you coast, you settle, and before you know it, 5 years have passed and you're still in the same place, wondering why your dreams haven't come true. It's because comfort has quietly stolen your urgency. Some of you pray for success, but when discomfort shows up, you run the other way. You say, I want to be successful, but you don't want to sweat for it. You don't want to be tired. You don't want to be challenged. But listen to me. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's the gym your mind trains in. Every time you push through something uncomfortable, you build a stronger version of yourself. Every time you do something you don't feel like doing, you strengthen your discipline. Discomfort is the signal that growth is happening. If you feel comfortable all the time, it means you're not pushing hard enough. Growth begins exactly where comfort ends. I learned that the hard way. When I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, there was nothing comfortable about it. But you know what? That discomfort became my classroom. It taught me hunger. It taught me focus. It taught me how to keep showing up. Even when I had nothing, I realized then that comfort had never taught me anything valuable. The pain, the struggle, the rejection, those were my teachers. And that's what I'm trying to get through to you today. Stop running from the grind. Stop avoiding the hard stuff. That's the soil where your greatness grows. Some of you want the prize without the process. You want the blessing without the burden. You want to shine, but you don't want to suffer. It doesn't work like that. Every great story you've ever heard had struggle in it. Every champion you admire went through nights of doubt, fear, and exhaustion. They didn't get there because it was comfortable. They got there because they were willing to walk through the fire while everyone else ran. They didn't pray for easy. They prayed for strength. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They fought through imperfect ones. The truth is, the reason so many people stay average is not because they don't have potential. It's because they don't have pain tolerance. The first sign of difficulty, and they quit. The moment something feels uncomfortable, they retreat. But winners, real winners, have made friends with discomfort. They understand that pain is part of the process. They know that if it's uncomfortable, it's probably worth doing. You can't have the championship mindset if you keep chasing the soft life. The soft life never built a legacy. The soft life never changed the world. I see people who have talent, but no urgency. They've got the skills, the ideas, the dreams, but they're too cozy. They've built a little nest for themselves in mediocrity, and they've convinced themselves it's success. They say, at least I'm doing better than most. That's comfort talking. Comfort makes you compare yourself downward instead of upward. It makes you look at people behind you instead of those ahead of you. And the moment you stop striving, you start declining. You either evolve or you dissolve. There's no standing still in life. You've got to get uncomfortable with your comfort zone. Every morning, you've got to wake up and ask yourself, am I growing or am I coasting? Because coasting feels smooth only until the road ends. If you want to do something great, you've got to be willing to feel awkward, uncertain, even scared. You've got to be willing to look foolish while you learn. Every expert you admire was once a beginner who was bad at it. Every leader you look up to once stumbled through their first steps. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They acted and became ready through experience. Comfort says, wait until you're confident. Growth says, move even when you're not. Think about a butterfly. It doesn't grow wings until it fights its way out of the cocoon. That struggle to break free is what gives it the strength to fly. If someone tries to help it by cutting the cocoon open, the butterfly dies. Why? Because the struggle was necessary. It was vital for its wings to develop. That's how your life works too. The struggles you're avoiding are the very things that would make you strong enough to soar. But every time you take the easy way out, you rob yourself of the transformation you need. You've got to rewire your relationship with discomfort. When it gets hard, don't say, why me? Say, try me. When you feel resistance, don't retreat, lean in. That pain you feel when you push your limits is not a sign to stop. It's proof that you're breaking barriers. Growth is supposed to hurt. Discipline is supposed to sting. Change is supposed to challenge you. You got to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. You got to fall in love with waking up early, with staying late, with pushing through when you're tired. That's how champions are made. And let me tell you something powerful. Comfort will always cost you more than discomfort. Comfort costs you time, potential, dreams. Discomfort costs you effort, but it pays you success. Comfort makes you feel good now, but miserable later. Discomfort feels hard now, but it builds a life you can be proud of later. You get to choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One lasts a moment, the other lasts a lifetime. So many people wait for motivation before they move. But motivation doesn't come when you're comfortable. It comes when you act. When you push yourself past your limits, your mind starts to shift. You start realizing you can do more than you thought. Confidence doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance. You earn self-respect every time you do something difficult. The more you step into discomfort, the more powerful you become. That's how warriors are built. That's how leaders rise. You've got to remind yourself daily that comfort is the graveyard of greatness. You can't plant your dreams in the soil of ease and expect them to grow. If you want to build something extraordinary, you've got to get used to doing what ordinary people won't. When others are relaxing, you're grinding. When others are complaining, you're learning. When others are giving up, you're going harder. That's the separation. That's the difference between the ones who talk about success and the ones who live it. Some of you are one uncomfortable decision away from changing your entire life. One brave move, one extra rep, one more hour of work. But you'll never know until you stop choosing comfort. Comfort keeps you stuck in almost successful, almost ready, almost happy. But almost doesn't get remembered, almost doesn't build legacies, almost doesn't change lives. You've got to break up with comfort like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't wait for someone to push you. You've got to push yourself. You've got to be willing to do what's hard when no one's watching. You've got to show up when it's boring, when it's painful, when it's inconvenient, because that's what separates the great from the average. The willingness to keep moving forward when comfort says stop. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need an unbreakable commitment. So from this day forward, I want you to start choosing the hard path. Choose the early morning instead of the extra sleep. Choose the workout instead of the excuse. Choose the study session instead of the scroll. Every small choice builds your strength. Every act of discipline breaks a piece of comfort's hold on you. Over time, those small acts add up to massive transformation. You become someone unstoppable, not because life got easier, but because you got tougher. Don't settle for a life that feels safe but empty. Don't trade your destiny for temporary ease. The world doesn't remember the ones who stayed comfortable. It remembers the ones who got up, showed up, and went all in despite the struggle. Discomfort is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. Walk across it, even if it burns your feet. Because on the other side of pain, pressure, and perseverance lies everything you've been praying for. You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you can't do both. That's the truth most people don't want to face. Excuses feel good in the moment. They comfort you. They justify your inaction. They make you feel like you're doing something when you're not. But at the end of the day, excuses don't move you forward. They keep you trapped exactly where you are. Progress doesn't come from talking about what you're going to do. It doesn't come from blaming circumstances, people, or luck. Progress comes from doing the work, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, even when you don't feel like it. Every time you make an excuse, you give up a piece of your power. You surrender control of your life to something outside of you. You say, I couldn't because, and fill in the blank with whatever sounds good that day. No time, no money, no support, no luck. But here's the truth. Somebody out there had less than you, went through worse than you, and still made it happen. So what's really stopping you? It's not the lack of opportunity. It's the abundance of excuses. Excuses are dangerous because they sound reasonable. They sound like logic when in fact they're fear in disguise. I'm not ready. It's not the right time. I'll start when I have more experience. Those aren't facts. Those are fears dressed up as reasons. Every time you tell yourself those lies, you strengthen the walls around your comfort zone. You reinforce the cage that keeps your potential locked away. Excuses are the chains that keep greatness imprisoned. Think about it. Every person who's ever achieved something extraordinary had a list of reasons why they could have quit. Every single one of them could have said, it's too hard, or it's not fair, or it's impossible. But they didn't. They made progress instead of excuses. They decided that effort was their only option. Because progress doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. People waste so much energy trying to explain why. They can't do something instead of just doing it. They build perfect stories to defend their inaction. They want the world to understand why they're stuck. But listen, the world doesn't reward explanations. It rewards execution. Nobody gets paid for having a good excuse. You get paid, respected, and remembered for results. You can either spend your time crafting reasons or creating outcomes. You can either justify your situation or change it. The energy is the same. The outcome is different. Excuses make you feel like you're protecting yourself from failure, but what you're really doing is guaranteeing regret. You think you're saving yourself from pain, but you're trading temporary comfort for permanent disappointment. The sting of effort lasts a moment. The sting of regret lasts a lifetime. Every time you let an excuse win, you make it easier to quit next time. You train your brain to accept mediocrity. You teach yourself that it's okay to back down when things get tough. That's how dreams die. Not from lack of ability, but from lack of accountability. Progress demands responsibility. You have to own your journey. You have to take full responsibility for your life. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You can't keep pointing fingers. You can't keep saying, it's not my fault. Maybe it's not your fault, but it is your fight. Maybe life dealt you a bad hand, but you still have to play it. Winners don't whine, they work. They don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They create momentum in the mess. Look around you. The most successful people you know didn't get there by making excuses. They made adjustments. When something didn't work, they didn't stop. They shifted, they learned, they adapted. Excuses are rigid, they trap you. Effort is flexible, it frees you. That's the difference between someone who stays stuck and someone who keeps rising. The one who's growing doesn't have fewer problems. They just refuse to let those problems become permanent barriers. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to say, if I had what they have, I'd be successful too. But that mindset is poison, because the moment you believe your success depends on someone else, you've already lost. Nobody owes you your dream. Nobody's coming to hand it to you. It's on you, your choices, your actions, your consistency. The moment you accept that full responsibility, everything changes, because now you're in control. Now you have power. Now progress becomes possible. Excuses are comfortable because they remove pressure. They allow you to say, it's not my fault. But the truth is, pressure is what makes you perform. Pressure is what reveals who you really are. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't develop greatness without challenges. So when life gets tough, don't retreat into excuses. Lean into effort. Let the pressure mold you, not crush you. Let it sharpen you, not silence you. I hear people say, I'm waiting for the right opportunity. No, you're not. You're waiting for an easy opportunity. You're waiting for one that doesn't require risk or rejection or failure. But easy never built anyone. You've got to go after the opportunities that scare you a little, that stretch you, that make you question if you can do it. Because those are the ones that grow you. Excuses keep you safe, but safe never made history. You've got to stop treating your goals like options. If you keep telling yourself maybe later, you'll never get to later. Life doesn't wait. The world keeps spinning whether you act or not. Every day you spend explaining why you can't is a day someone else spends proving that they can. The only difference between them and you is that they traded excuses for execution. They stopped waiting to feel ready and started moving anyway. And that's the secret. Progress happens in motion, not in perfection. The mind is clever. It'll find endless justifications for why you shouldn't act. It'll whisper, you're tired, you're not good enough, you don't have. But you've got to catch that voice and challenge it. You've got to tell yourself, maybe I'm tired, but I'll still try. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm improving. Maybe I don't have all the time, but I'll make time, because that's how progress is made. One decision at a time, one choice to move forward instead of staying still. People who make progress aren't fearless. They're disciplined. They've learned to act despite fear, despite doubt, despite excuses. They've learned that waiting for perfect conditions is a trap. If you can't act when it's hard, you won't act when it's easy. You've got to build the habit of doing what you said you do, no matter what. That's how you develop trust in yourself. That's how you earn confidence. There's always going to be a reason to stop, always. You'll always be busy. You'll always be tired. You'll always have something that feels more urgent. That's life. But if you keep letting those things decide your effort, you'll live your whole life reacting instead of creating. You'll live by circumstance instead of conviction. You've got to decide what's non-negotiable for you. You've got to decide what matters enough to keep going even when it's inconvenient, because success doesn't care about your schedule. It rewards your sacrifice. You want to know why most people never reach their potential? It's not because they don't have dreams. It's because they protect their excuses more than they protect their purpose. They defend their limitations like a lawyer. They build a case for why they can't instead of a plan for how they can. You've got to flip that mindset. You've got to become your own accountability partner. Every time an excuse pops up, ask yourself, do I want comfort or do I want change? Because you can't have both. The truth is you'll never eliminate every obstacle. Life will always throw curveballs, but progress is about showing up anyway. It's about saying, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. That's what effort does. It moves you inch by inch closer to your purpose. Excuses keep you motionless, and motionless people don't grow. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop seeing effort as a burden and start seeing it as a privilege. You get to try. You get to chase your dream. You get to wake up with another chance to improve. That's something millions of people don't have. So when you feel tempted to make excuses, remember that effort is a blessing. It's your proof that you're still in the game. Don't let your mind talk you out of greatness. The moment that voice says you can't, respond with action. Action is the antidote to every excuse. You can't think your way out of fear. You have to move through it. You can't wish your way to progress. You have to work for it. Every step you take silences the part of you that wants to quit. Every time you do what you said you do, you weaken the power of excuses. So ask yourself right now, what have you been avoiding? What dream have you been delaying because of excuses? What goal have you been postponing for someday? The clock is ticking and someday isn't a day on the calendar. You've got to start now. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need approval. You just need to commit, because once you commit, effort will carry you. Once you start, momentum will keep you going. Progress doesn't happen by luck. It happens by labor. And every ounce of effort you put in counts. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you win a battle against the old version of yourself. Every time you act instead of excuse, you grow stronger. Over time, those small victories turn into massive transformation. Excuses fade when effort becomes your identity, when showing up becomes who you are, when giving up stops being an option. That's when you become unstoppable. That's when progress becomes inevitable. You'll look back one day and realize that everything you wanted was waiting on the other side of one simple decision: to stop explaining and start executing. Because at the end of the day, excuses don't build empires. Effort does. What you do today matters more than you can imagine. You might not see it right now. You might not feel it right now. But every decision, every action, every small step you take today is shaping your tomorrow. Your future is not built in one grand moment of success. It's built in thousands of small, ordinary moments where you choose to act, to persist, to improve. Every day is a brick, and what you do with it determines the strength of the house you build. Too many people live like tomorrow is guaranteed. They waste their days waiting for the right time, hoping life will suddenly hand them what they want. But life doesn't reward wishes. It rewards work. It rewards those who understand that what they do daily determines who they become eventually. You can't skip the process and expect the promise. Every champion, every success story, every great leader, they didn't arrive by accident. They arrived because they did the small, consistent things when no one was watching. They trained when they were tired. They worked when others were sleeping. They studied when others were partying. They invested their time today for the reward of tomorrow. That's the secret. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's consistency. Consistency compounds, and every small step adds up. The problem is most people underestimate the power of today. They think one missed workout, one skipped study session, one lazy afternoon won't matter. But those just one times add up. They add up until they form habits, and habits shape your destiny. You've got to start seeing your time as the most valuable currency you own. Every day you get 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, and every choice you make spends that time. The question is, are you investing it or wasting it? Because time doesn't come back. You can lose money and make more. You can lose opportunities and find new ones. But once the day is gone, it's gone forever. And the scary part, the version of you that you'll be 5 years from now is being built right now. The discipline you build today will either be your foundation or your downfall. You want to change your life? Stop focusing on the big picture so much and start mastering the small moments. You can't climb a mountain in a single leap. You do it one step at a time. Success is built the same way. It's not one massive act of greatness. It's small acts of discipline stacked day after day. The person who works on their craft every day, even for 30 minutes, will always outperform the person who works hard once in a while. Why? Because consistency beats intensity when intensity is inconsistent. You say you want to be successful, but what are you doing today to prove it? You say you want to be great, but are your actions reflecting greatness or comfort? Talk doesn't create transformation. Habits do. Every time you take a small step forward, you reinforce a mindset of progress. Every time you make excuses and put things off, you reinforce stagnation. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are. So if you want to be disciplined, act disciplined. If you want to be successful, act successful. If you want to be respected, act with integrity. Don't wait to become that person. Be that person through your actions now. You can't dream your way into success. You've got to discipline your way into it. You've got to show up even when you don't feel like it. You've got to choose purpose over pleasure, consistency over comfort, focus over feelings. Feelings are temporary, but your future is permanent. You might not control everything in your life, but you do control your effort today, and that effort compounds. Every single day that you show up adds another layer of strength, another piece of progress, another inch toward your goal. The same way saving a little money each day builds wealth. Doing the right thing each day builds character and success. Think about a farmer. He plants seeds, but he doesn't see the harvest the next morning. He waters the soil, tends to it, and trusts the process. It might take weeks or months before anything sprouts, but he keeps going because he knows growth is happening underground even when he can't see it. That's your life. What you do today might not show results tomorrow, but it's building your roots. It's forming a foundation that your future self will stand on. But if you don't plant the seeds now, there's nothing to harvest later. You can't expect success without sowing effort daily. Every day gives you a chance to choose between progress and procrastination. You either move closer to your dream or further away from it. There's no neutral. You're either growing or decaying. Every decision you make is feeding one of those sides. When you choose to study instead of scroll, you feed your future. When you choose to exercise instead of sleep in, you feed your discipline. When you choose to show gratitude instead of complain, you feed your peace. But when you keep choosing the easy way, you starve your potential. You weaken the muscles of discipline that are supposed to carry you to your destiny. Some of you keep waiting for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. Some days it'll be there, most days it won't. That's why you can't build your life around how you feel. You've got to build it around what you decide. You've got to make daily commitments to your goals, even when your emotions don't align. Because success is not emotional, it's habitual. It doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you consistently do. The people who make it in life aren't the ones who always feel inspired. They're the ones who show up even when they don't. Your future is constantly being shaped by the choices you make in the present. If you spend your days distracted, uncommitted, or careless, your future will reflect that chaos. If you spend your days focused, disciplined, and hungry, your future will reflect that growth. Life doesn't magically improve. You improve, and life adjusts to your level of effort. You can't control the outcome, but you can't control the input. You can't decide how fast things grow, but you can decide how faithfully you water them. Every day you water your dream with action, it grows stronger roots. There's a difference between activity and progress. Just being busy doesn't mean you're productive. Some people spend their days moving but not advancing, scrolling, talking, worrying, but not acting. Progress comes from purposeful action. You got to ask yourself each day, is what I'm doing today moving me toward or away from my goal? Because if it's not moving you forward, it's holding you back. Every choice is a vote for the person you're becoming. The future version of you is being decided by how you spend your minutes right now. And here's the thing, small wins matter. Don't overlook them. Some days progress will look huge. You'll crush goals, make breakthroughs, feel unstoppable. Other days progress will be slow, invisible even, but both matter equally. The small steps, the boring days, the repetitive routines, they're what build your foundation. You don't get to skip them. Greatness isn't glamorous. Every day it's a grind, and the grind is where character is built. The grind is where you learn to trust yourself, to push yourself, to respect yourself. You've got to live like every day counts, because it does. One day you'll look back and realize that your some days never came because you didn't treat your todays like they matter. Every day is a chance to rewrite your story, to move closer to the life you imagine. But that only happens if you take ownership of your actions. You can't keep saying next week or after I'm ready. Life doesn't wait for readiness. It rewards action. The people who win are the ones who take imperfect steps now and perfect them later. Imagine your life as a book being written right now. Every day is a new page. The words you write today determine how the next chapters unfold. If you waste today, tomorrow's chapter starts weaker. If you use today with purpose, tomorrow's story becomes richer. You hold the pen, but most people hand theirs over to distraction, to fear, to laziness. Take your pen back. Write the story on purpose, with purpose, one day at a time. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, what can I do today that my future self will thank me for? It might not be huge. It might be reading for 15 minutes, hitting the gym, saving a small amount, saying no to a distraction. But those small moments of intention build momentum. That's the secret. Success doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from daily steps in the right direction. And momentum is powerful. Once it starts, it carries you forward even when motivation fades. Don't underestimate the compounding effect of daily effort. 1% improvement each day might not look like much, but over time, it transforms everything. In a year, that's 37 times better. That's how growth happens, quietly, gradually, but powerfully. The people you admire didn't get there overnight. They built their legacy brick by brick. You can't rush it, but you can respect it. You can show up daily and lay your bricks with pride, knowing that each one is taking you closer to your dream. Life rewards those who are faithful in the small things. If you can't manage your today, you won't be trusted with tomorrow's blessings. So stop treating your present like it's disposable. You know what's crazy? Most people think they procrastinate because they're lazy. They think it's because they don't care. or because they're not serious enough. But I'm here to tell you something deeper, something most folks don't want to face. Fear is hiding behind your procrastination. That's right. Every time you put something off, every time you delay, every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, what you're really saying is, I'm scared. You're not lazy. You're afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to give your all and still come up short. And that fear disguises itself as procrastination so you can avoid the truth. Think about it. You've got dreams, you've got plans, you've got goals that light a fire inside you when you think about them. But when it comes time to act, when it's time to write the book, start the business, record the video, send the application, you suddenly get tired. You suddenly get busy. You suddenly find excuses that sound logical. You say, I'll do it after lunch. Then it's, I'll do it tonight. Then it's, I'll start fresh tomorrow. But the truth is, you're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the fear to go away, and it never will. That's what fear does. It whispers in your ear that you're not ready, that you're not enough, that if you try, you'll embarrass yourself. So instead of confronting that fear, you disguise it. You cover it with procrastination because that's easier to admit. When you procrastinate, you're building walls between yourself and your purpose. You're giving fear power over your destiny. Every minute you hesitate, every hour you delay, fear grows stronger. It doesn't leave. It learns your rhythm. It learns that every time opportunity knocks, you'll freeze. It studies you like an opponent in the ring. Fear doesn't fight you directly. It manipulates you into fighting yourself, and you fall for it every single time. You justify it. You call it planning. You call it waiting for inspiration. You call it needing a sign. But deep down, you know what's really happening. You're scared of what happens when you go all in. Some of you are so afraid of failing that you'd rather not try at all. You think if I never start, I can't fail. But that mindset is the greatest failure of all, because you don't just lose a chance. You lose time. You lose momentum. You lose belief in yourself. You start convincing yourself that it's okay to stay where you are. You start shrinking your dream to fit your fear. You start settling for comfort instead of chasing purpose. And before you know it, years go by. You wake up one day realizing that you've spent most of your life hiding behind excuses instead of fighting for your calling. Fear of failure is a poison. It convinces you that failing is the end, when in reality, failure is the beginning. Every successful person you admire has failed hard. They've fallen on their faces. They've embarrassed themselves, but they didn't let fear control their actions. They used failure as feedback. They understood that every mistake was just a lesson on the road to mastery. Meanwhile, the procrastinator, driven by fear, never even reaches that stage. You can't learn from experience if you never start the experience. And let's talk about another type of fear that fuels procrastination. The fear of success. Yeah, that's real too. Some people are not afraid of losing. They're afraid of winning, because winning comes with responsibility. Success demands discipline, sacrifice, accountability. Some of you know that once you reach the next level, you can't play small anymore. You can't hide. You can't use the same excuses. So you delay. You tell yourself, I'll be ready when I have more time, more money, more experience. But the truth is, you're just scared of outgrowing your comfort zone. You're scared that the new you will require a version of discipline you've never had before. Fear of judgment. Now that's a big one. You're worried about what? People will think if you start small. You don't want to post that video because what if nobody watches? You don't want to start that business because what if people laugh? You don't want to chase your dream because what if you follow and everyone sees it? But here's the truth. People are going to judge you anyway. Whether you act or stay still, they'll talk. So you might as well give them something worth talking about. The people who judge are usually the ones too scared to try themselves. You cannot let the opinions of others become the cage that traps your greatness. You got to stop asking for permission to be who you were born to be. Let me tell you something powerful. Fear only has power when you believe its story. When you procrastinate, you're feeding that story. You're saying, you're right, fear. I'm not ready. But the moment you act, you strip fear of its control. Action is the antidote to fear. The second you start doing, fear starts shrinking. It thrives in hesitation, but dies in motion. That's why even small steps matter. That's why writing one page, making one call, or sending one message can change everything. Because those small actions remind fear that you are still in charge. You've got to stop letting fear make decisions for you. Every time you delay action because of fear, you reinforce it. You make it stronger. You train your brain to associate safety with inaction. And then you start thinking you need to feel ready before you start. But listen to me, you'll never feel ready. No one ever does. You build readiness through movement. You build confidence through doing. You build courage by walking straight into fear's face and saying, you don't control me anymore. I remember hearing someone say, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. And that's the truth. Fear doesn't disappear. It doesn't vanish when you reach success. It's always there. The difference between winners and procrastinators isn't that one feels fear and the other doesn't. It's that winners move anyway. They use fear as fuel instead of an excuse. They say, if I'm scared, that means it matters. That means I need to do it. You can't let fear stop you from building the life you deserve. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel uncertainty and still commit. You can feel doubt and still act. When you procrastinate because of fear, you're not protecting yourself. You're betraying yourself. You're saying, my comfort is more important than my calling. And that's dangerous because comfort kills ambition. It numbs your drive. It makes you forget why you started in the first place. You were built for more than scrolling, waiting, and wishing. You were built to create, to lead, to build, to serve. But you can't do any of that if you keep letting fear drive your schedule. You've got to start seeing fear differently. Instead of running from it, study it. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Most of the time, it's not the task, it's the meaning you attach to it. You're not afraid to start the business. You're afraid of what people will say if you fail. You're not afraid to apply for a job. You're afraid of rejection. You're not afraid to commit. You're afraid of being hurt again. But here's the truth. The pain of regret is always worse than the pain of effort. The sting of rejection fades, but the weight of what if lasts forever. I want you to remember something powerful. Fear is a liar, but it speaks your language. It uses your thoughts, your voice, your logic. It convinces you that it's protecting you from disappointment when in reality it's keeping you from greatness. You've got to learn to talk back to fear. You've got to say, no, I'm doing it anyway. No, I'm taking the shot. No, I'm showing up. Because every time you confront fear with action, you gain strength. Every time you move despite doubt, you build momentum. And every time you take one more step forward, procrastination loses its grip on your life. You can't fight procrastination by thinking your way out of it. You can't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect move. The only way to break the cycle is through doing. Action breaks fear's illusion. When you start, you realize it's not as bad as you imagine. The fear lives in the thought, not the task. You just need to start. Because once you begin, clarity replaces confusion. Confidence replaces doubt. Motion replaces fear. So if you're tired of procrastinating, stop trying to feel brave. Just move, send the message, make the call, post the video, write the first page, do the small thing you've been putting off. You don't need courage to start. You gain courage after you start. That's how you beat fear. That's how you beat procrastination. You act first. You feel ready later, because at the end of the day, fear will always be there, but so will opportunity. And only one of them deserves your attention. The one you feed grows stronger. So stop feeding your fear with hesitation. Feed your future with action. Stop giving fear your time, your peace, your dream. You've got something powerful inside you, but it's trapped behind the wall of later. Break that wall. Step into the unknown. Face your fear and move through it. Because everything you want, every dream, every goal, every breakthrough is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Every great success story you've ever heard didn't happen because of one massive leap. It happened because of small, consistent steps that were repeated every single day. But we live in a world that glorifies the big moment. We celebrate the trophies, the awards, the breakthroughs, and the headlines. We look at people who've made it and think they must have done something huge, something magical, something extraordinary. What we don't see are the thousands of small decisions, the quiet hours, the discipline, the sweat, and the effort that built that success brick by brick. We miss the small things because they're not glamorous, but those small things are what separate dreamers from doers, wishers from winners. See, small daily actions may look insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound. Every time you do something productive, even if it feels small or invisible, you're planting a seed. And those seeds grow, even if you can't see them right away. The problem is most people quit watering their seeds because they don't see results fast enough. They want instant success. They want the reward now. They want to skip the process and jump to the finish line. But life doesn't work like that. Success is not one giant explosion. It's a slow burn. It's built through small, steady flames that you keep alive every day. If you look at an Olympic athlete, you see the gold medal, but you don't see the 10,000 early mornings, the endless drills, the tears, the injuries, the sacrifices. You see the glory, not the grind. But without those small, consistent actions, that athlete would never make it to the podium. The same is true for you. You might not have a stadium full of fans cheering your name, but your success, your dream demands the same consistency, the same daily discipline, the same willingness to do the little things that nobody sees. Because the truth is, the small things are the big things. When you commit to small daily actions, you're training your mind and your body to align with your goals. You're rewiring your habits one decision at a time. Every time you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, you're building discipline. Every time you say no to distractions and focus on your work, you're building character. Every time you push through a difficult moment, instead of giving up, you're building resilience. And over time, those habits form the foundation of who you become. You can't build a mansion on sand. You need a foundation, and consistency is that foundation. People underestimate the power of momentum. When you take small actions consistently, you create momentum, and momentum is a force that multiplies your effort. Think about pushing a car that's out of gas. At first, it's hard. It barely moves. You put your whole body into it, and it feels like nothing's happening. But if you keep pushing, slowly, it starts to roll. And once it's rolling, it takes less effort to keep it going. That's momentum. Small daily effort builds momentum. Once you have it, your work starts to flow. Your mind sharpens, your focus increases, and suddenly things that felt impossible become part of your routine. But procrastination kills momentum. It resets your progress. It forces you to start over again and again. That's why it's better to do something small every day than to do something big once in a while. One workout won't make you fit. One study session won't make you a genius. One day of effort won't make you successful. It's the repetition, the daily grind that transforms you. Small daily actions are like drops of water wearing down a rock. Each drop looks harmless, but over time, even the hardest stone begins to change shape. We live in a generation that worships overnight success. But the truth is, overnight success is just a public moment of a private journey. Nobody wakes up successful. You grow into success through small, deliberate steps. You don't become great by chance. You become great by choice, repeated, disciplined choices made day after day. The books you read, the people you listen to, the habits you form, the things you say no to. These small things add up. They're invisible on the surface, but they're building something powerful inside you. You might think what you're doing today doesn't matter. You might think writing one page, saving a few rupees, running 1 kilometer, studying for 30 minutes, waking up a little earlier is too small to make a difference. But that's where you're wrong, because what you do daily shapes your mindset. It tells your subconscious what matters. If you keep taking small, intentional actions, your mind begins to believe in progress. You start to see yourself as someone who moves forward, someone who follows through. That's how confidence is built, not by grand gestures, but by daily promises kept. You've got to stop underestimating the power of small beginnings. Every big thing starts small. Apple started in a garage. Amazon started in a small office. The world's greatest movements began with one step, one decision, one person refusing to quit. You may not be where you want to be yet, but if you stay consistent, you'll get there. The road to success isn't paved with shortcuts. It's built with consistency, patience, and faith in the process. You've got to fall in love with the process. Stop chasing the end result so hard that you forget to value the small steps that lead there. Every rep in the gym matters. Every hour you study matters. Every day you show up matters. Even the days that feel meaningless, even the moments when it seems like nothing is happening, those are the moments that build strength, character, and endurance. You don't see the growth right away, but it's happening beneath the surface, like roots growing underground before the tree breaks through the soil. You might not see the progress, but that doesn't mean it's not real. And here's the truth. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You don't have to do everything right. You just have to keep doing something. There will be days you mess up, days you fall behind, days you feel tired, but don't quit. Because the moment you quit, you break the chain of growth. You lose the compounding effect. But if you keep showing up, even when it's hard, you'll keep growing. Success doesn't belong to the smartest or the most talented. It belongs to the most consistent. Small actions are the habits that shape your identity. If you want to be a writer, write every day, even if it's one paragraph. If you want to be fit, move your body every day, even if it's just a walk. You want to grow spiritually? Meditate or pray every day, even if it's just 5 minutes. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up daily for your dream. You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence isn't an act, it's a habit. Think about compound interest. You invest a small amount of money consistently, and over time, it grows exponentially because of compounding. Your actions work the same way. Small daily actions compound into massive results, but inconsistency breaks that compounding process. When you skip days, when you delay, when you give in to laziness, you're interrupting the growth curve. You're robbing yourself of the reward that consistency would have produced. You can't build something lasting on random effort. Success needs structure. It needs rhythm. It needs repetition. Just like a muscle grows through consistent training, your goals grow through consistent effort. The more you practice, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. The better you get, the more opportunities you attract. That's how small daily actions transform your life. They create a chain reaction of improvement. Some days your actions will feel insignificant. You'll doubt whether it's even worth it. You'll question if anyone notices or cares. But remember this, progress is like the sunrise. It doesn't happen all at once. The darkness fades slowly, the light grows gradually, and before you know it, everything is brighter. Your small daily actions are that light. They might not blind the world instantly, but they're changing it. Slowly, steadily, powerfully. Every day you stay consistent, you separate yourself from the crowd, because most people give up when results don't show fast enough. Most people stop when it gets hard. But if you keep going, even when nobody's watching, you're building something unstoppable. You're building discipline. You're building faith. You're building the future version of yourself that's capable of handling the success you desire. You've got to trust the process. You've got to believe that what you do today matters, even if it doesn't pay off immediately. Your actions are investments. They may not bring instant gratification, but they bring transformation. Keep doing the small things, because one day they won't be small anymore. One day the world will call you lucky, but you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was consistency. It was the power of small daily actions that nobody saw but you. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for inspiration. Do something, anything that moves you 1 inch closer to your dream, because 1 inch every day adds up. 1 brick every day builds a wall. 1 drop every day fills a bucket. 1 decision every day changes your life. Small daily actions aren't just steps towards success. They're proof that you're becoming the kind of person who deserves it. Time is the one thing every human being gets equally, but the way we use it defines the difference between success and failure, between purpose and regret, between the person who becomes something and the person who never does. You can get more money, you can get another job, you can replace almost anything in life, but you can never get more time. Once it's gone forever. Every second that slips through your fingers is a piece of your life you'll never touch again. Yet most people treat time like it's unlimited. They waste it like it'll come back tomorrow, as if they're guaranteed another sunrise. But time is the one resource that does not replenish. And the brutal truth is that if you don't learn to master your time will master you. We love to say, I don't have time, but that's a lie. You have time. You just spend it on the wrong things. You have 24 hours every single day, the same 24 hours that millionaires, athletes, inventors, and world changers have. The difference isn't in the hours. It's in the priorities. It's not that you don't have time. It's that you've chosen not to give time to what matters most. You've traded purpose for distraction, progress for procrastination, and growth for comfort. And that's why you're stuck. The clock doesn't stop for anybody. It doesn't pause when you're tired. It doesn't rewind when you make mistakes. And it doesn't skip ahead when you're ready. It moves steady, relentless, unstoppable. Every tick of that clock is a reminder that you are running out of chances. You are not promised next year. You are not promised next week. You are not even promised tomorrow. And that's what makes time so valuable. It's scarcity. The more you realize how limited your time is, the more intentional you become with how you use it. When you waste time, you waste life. Think about that. Every moment you spend scrolling, complaining, or hesitating is a moment you could have spent creating, building, learning, or growing. You're not just wasting minutes, you're wasting potential. You're throwing away pieces of the person you could have become. And the scary part is time doesn't shout while you waste it. It slips away quietly. 1 minute here, one distraction there, one day of procrastination, until suddenly months have passed, years have gone, and you realize you've been standing still while life kept moving forward. Time is your most valuable currency because it's the only currency that doesn't come back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose relationships and rebuild them. You can lose health and recover it. But once time is gone, it's gone. You can't earn it back. You can't bargain for it. You can't buy more of it. That's why successful people guard their time like it's treasure, because it is. They understand that how you spend your time is how you spend your life. Your schedule reveals your priorities. If you want to know what you truly care about, look at where your hours go. You say you want to build something great, but your calendar doesn't reflect it. You say you want to change your life, but your habits don't prove it. You say you want freedom, but you're still a prisoner to distraction. You can't say you want success and spend half your day doing things that don't move you forward. You can't say you value growth while wasting your morning on meaningless things. You can't say time is precious if you keep throwing it away like it's cheap. Most people don't lose because they lack opportunity. They lose because they waste time. They're busy, but not productive. They mistake motion for progress. They run in circles doing 100 small things that mean nothing instead of focusing on the few things that matter most. Busyness is the new form of laziness. It feels like work, but it's just noise. True productivity is about intentionality, knowing what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. You've got to stop treating time like a casual gift. It's not casual, it's sacred. Every morning you wake up is a blessing. Every breath is another chance to do something meaningful. You don't know how many of those chances you have left. You could have 50 years or 5 days, and that uncertainty should make you live with urgency. Not panic, but urgency. The kind of urgency that pushes you to stop delaying your purpose. The kind that makes you say, I can't waste another day. You see, urgency changes everything. When you live like your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop letting fear, doubt, or perfectionism steal it. You stop saying, I'll do it later. Later isn't guaranteed. The people who accomplish the most are not necessarily the smartest. They're the ones who understand the value of time. They treat every minute like gold. They respect the clock. They understand that 5 focused minutes can do more for your future than 5 distracted hours, because it's not just about how much time you have. It's about how much intention you bring into that time. When you give your time to something, you're giving a piece of yourself. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Every hour you spend on Netflix is an hour not spent on your dream. Every minute you waste complaining is a minute not spent creating solutions. Time spent carelessly is opportunity buried permanently. You've got to start auditing your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself, Is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to my goals or further away? Is it feeding my growth or draining my energy? Is it helping me become who I want to be or keeping me stuck where I've always been? We often think we'll start living once we have time, but life doesn't wait for your schedule to clear up. You've got to make time for what matters. You've got to carve it out, protect it, and treat it like it's the most important appointment of your day. Because if you don't schedule your time, someone else will. If you don't control your minutes, the world will. You'll spend your life reacting instead of creating, following instead of leading, surviving instead of thriving. You got to stop saying one day. You got to start saying day one, because one day is a lie that steals all your tomorrows. Time doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care if you're tired or unmotivated. It keeps moving. The question is, are you moving with it, or are you standing still while your opportunity passes you by? We often underestimate how much time we waste in small ways. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a quick scroll, a short distraction, a few harmless breaks. But those minutes add up. 1 hour a day wasted is 365 hours a year. That's more than 2 full weeks of your life gone. Now imagine doing that every year for a decade. That's hundreds of hours you could have used to change your life. And once they're gone, there's no refund. Successful people are not necessarily busier. They're more deliberate. They wake up with a plan. They prioritize their time around what matters most. They eliminate what doesn't serve them. They understand that saying yes to everything is a slow way to die. You've got to start guarding your time like a bodyguard protects a celebrity, because your time is your life. And everyone, every app, every advertisement, every distraction is trying to steal a piece of it. You've got to fight back for your focus. You've got to reclaim your minutes. You've got to decide that your time belongs to your purpose, not to your phone, your fears, or your comfort zone. You can't let another year pass while saying, I'll do it later. You can't keep living like time is infinite. It's not. Every day, you're one day closer to the end. And that should scare you, not into fear, but into action, into gratitude, into urgency, into purpose. Because if you knew how little time you had left, you stop wasting it. You stop procrastinating. You stop living like you have forever. You start living like every second matters. You call that person. You start that business. You take that chance. You move. The truth is, you don't need more time. You need more focus. You need to stop waiting for the right moment and make the moment right. You need to stop saying, when I have time, and start saying, I'll make time. Because people who win in life don't find time. They create it. They make sacrifices. They cut distractions. They say no to comfort so they can say yes to growth. Your time is your life story. Every minute you spend writes another line. Every hour shapes another chapter. And one day the story ends. The question is, will it end with regret or fulfillment? Will you be proud of how you spent your time, or will you wish you had done more with it? Because time won't stop for you to decide. The clock is ticking right now. Every tick is a choice. Every talk is an opportunity. And you have the power to decide how you use it. You can either waste it or invest it. You can either let it pass or make it count. You can either let the hours control you, or you can command them. But one way or another, time will move. The only thing you get to decide is whether you move with purpose or let it pass you by. You keep waiting to feel ready. You keep waiting for that spark, that perfect burst of energy that'll make you jump out of bed and chase your dreams. But that's not how it works. Motivation is unreliable. It's temporary. It fades as soon as the world gets hard. The truth is, the people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they're not always motivated. They're moving anyway. They've learned that momentum, not motivation, is the real engine of progress. The more you move, the more energy you build, the more you act, the more confidence you gain. You don't wait for momentum. You create it. See, motivation is emotional. It depends on your mood. If you feel inspired, you act. But momentum is logical. It's mechanical. Once you start rolling, it becomes hard to stop. It's like pushing a heavy car. The first few pushes take all your strength. But once it's rolling, a single nudge keeps it going. That's life. The hardest part isn't the work. It's the start. The start is where 99% of people lose. They overthink, they overplan, and they tell themselves they'll begin when the timing is right. But success isn't about timing, it's about movement. Every great accomplishment you see, every empire, every invention, every transformation began with one uncomfortable step, one imperfect action, one decision to stop thinking and start doing. If you wait for motivation, you'll stay stuck in that loop of someday. But if you act, even when it's messy, you'll build something far stronger: discipline, consistency, momentum. The first workout feels terrible. The first study session feels endless. The first business plan looks rough. But every time you show up again, it gets easier. You start to feel proud instead of pressure. You start to crave progress instead of perfection. That's momentum. It's the invisible force that multiplies your energy and sharpens your focus. And once you got it, man, it's hard to lose. Momentum doesn't ask for perfection. It only asks for persistence. You can fall, fail, get tired, doubt yourself. But as long as you keep moving, momentum will carry you forward. Think of a train. When it's standing still, it takes massive effort to move it even an inch. But once it's speeding down the track, not even a mountain can stop it easily. That's what your life is like. Right now, you might be in that pushing phase. Heavy, slow, frustrating, but keep pushing, keep showing up. Because once you build that rhythm, you'll feel unstoppable. Your energy will rise naturally. Your confidence will expand. And suddenly, you'll look back and wonder why you ever hesitated to begin. Momentum is about trust. Trust in the process, trust in your habits, trust in yourself, because there will be days when nothing seems to happen, when your effort feels invisible, when the results refuse to show. Those are the days most people quit. They think the lack of visible progress means they're failing. But in truth, that's where the foundation is being built. Every rep you do, every page you read, every hour you grind, it's all stacking up silently. Momentum doesn't shout, it whispers, but eventually it roars. The compound effect of small, consistent actions will always outpace short bursts of motivation. You've got to train your mind to see action as medicine. Don't sit and wait for your feelings to align. Move first and your feelings will follow. It's like jumping into a cold pool. The first second shocks you, but after that, you adapt. The discomfort fades and the motion becomes natural. That's what winners understand. They don't need perfect emotions to produce powerful actions. They move through resistance. They don't negotiate with laziness. They silence it through action. They don't pray for easy days. They prepare for strong ones. Look, energy is a product of movement. You're tired because you're not moving. You're uninspired because you're not creating. You're confused because you're not committing. Life rewards the ones who take action, not the ones who overanalyze. The first step doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be real. Write one page, make one call, walk 1 kilometer, study for 10 minutes, do it again tomorrow and the day after that. That's how the wheel turns. That's how the fire grows. Motivation might give you a spark, but momentum builds the flame. Stop chasing hype. Stop scrolling for motivation videos, hoping one will finally click. You already have what you need. The only thing missing is movement. If you can move once, you can move again. If you can move again, you can build rhythm. And if you can build rhythm, you can change your life. Consistency is stronger than passion. Effort is stronger than emotion, because feelings come and go, but habits stay. You can't control your emotions every day, but you can control your behavior. You can decide to act no matter what. Think about an athlete. They don't wake up every day feeling motivated to train, but they train anyway. Why? Because they know showing up creates momentum, and momentum creates results. The repetition builds their confidence, their skill, and their hunger. Before long, it's no longer about motivation. It's about identity. They don't try to act. They just do it because that's who they've become. That's where you need to get. You've got to stop identifying as someone who's trying. You've got to become someone who does. You're not waiting on motivation. Motivation is waiting on you. You can read every book, watch every speech, listen to every podcast. But if you never move, nothing changes. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. It rewards the doers, the ones who take messy action and learn along the way. The more you act, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. The better you get, the more inspired you feel. That's the feedback loop of progress. But you can't experience that loop if you never take the first step. Momentum doesn't mean moving fast. It means moving forward. Even slow progress is still progress. Even small wins build strength. You've got to stop judging your journey by how it looks right now. Every success story started ugly. Every dreamer started clueless, but they started, and that's why they won. You're not behind. You're just paused. And the moment you hit play, the universe moves with you. The opportunities, the ideas, the energy, they all begin to appear once you move. That's the law of momentum. You don't need to feel confident before you act. Confidence comes from action. You don't need clarity before you act. Clarity comes from action. You don't need perfect conditions. Progress creates the conditions. You're trying to figure it all out before you take the first step, but that's not how growth works. Life is revealed to those who move, not to those who sit and plan endlessly. Start small, but start now. The moment you begin, you've already beaten the version of yourself that was stuck in hesitation. Momentum builds belief. Belief builds consistency. Consistency builds results. And results build identity. That's the real formula. The ones who win in life aren't always the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who move when others freeze. They push through confusion. They act when scared. They build their own energy through motion. That's how champions are made, one deliberate step at a time. So when you wake up tomorrow and your mind says, I don't feel like it, you tell yourself, I'll move anyway. When you want to wait for motivation, remind yourself, movement creates motivation. When the voice in your head says maybe later, you reply, no, right now. Because the only way to break the cycle of procrastination is through momentum. The only way to become unstoppable is through movement. You are one decision away from changing everything. Not one dream, not one wish, not one plan, one decision. Decide to act. Decide to move, decide to stop waiting for the right feeling and create the right flow. You'll be amazed at what happens when you stop overthinking and start doing. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and your results multiply. You stop chasing motivation and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need it. Momentum is a mindset. It's the understanding that action itself generates the power to keep going. So don't sit there waiting for something to happen. Be the thing that happens. Be the force that moves. Because once you start moving, everything starts aligning. The doors open, the path clears, and suddenly what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Keep moving, keep creating, keep believing, because motion is power, and you've had that power all along.